before we write the obituary of the Chiefs dynasty, can it not be when they are in the midst of the greatest 3-year stretch in the history of the sport? The last 3 years, they have been more successful or as successful as any team ever. They had no significant offseason losses.
And that's what I want to talk about, because every time I hear that, it just gets funnier and funnier. I made a clip about this before in the whole thing and talked about the Chiefs and whatnot. And I defended the Chiefs, but I mentioned that that was just not true, about that they had the best 3-season, the best 3-year stretch in the history of the NFL. It's just completely wrong. And of course, Kansas City Chiefs fans, Mahomes fans get angry about that, but let's unpack it then. Let's figure out what 3-year stretch was better. Let's figure this out. Let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs from 22 to 24 to the New England Patriots in 2016 to 2018. Because we love to pretend just because the Chiefs went back to back and then tried to win that third and then didn't is somehow better than what the Patriots did because they won, lost, won. We just want to invent that just because of reasons. Not to mention, Nick specifically just said 3-year stretch. Okay? 3-year stretch. So let's look at this a little bit further then. The New England Patriots are on the left. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the right. The Kansas City Chiefs, the New England Patriots, for their 3-year total, even though they played 3 less games, by the way, scored more points than the Kansas City Chiefs. 1,335 to 1,252. Points allowed, 871 to 989. Now, they played less games, but when you do that to equalize it to a 17-game schedule, the New England Patriots still allowed less points than the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting. Point differential, plus 464 to the Kansas City Chiefs, plus 263. When standardized to a 17-game schedule, plus 500 to 263 point differential. So nearly a double point more for point differential. So just that off of that alone, the New England Patriots scored more points than the Kansas City Chiefs and gave up less points and had a greater point differential. And yet somehow what the Kansas City Chiefs did was the greatest 3-year stretch in the history of the NFL, more so than the New England Patriots. And by the way, we know they both won 2 Super Bowls and both lost the Super Bowl. Except one of those losses was not like the other, which we'll get through. What about quarterback play? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady got suspended and again only played 16-game seasons instead of the 17. And so he had 44 games played. Patrick Mahomes had 49. 89 passing touchdowns to 94. Tom Brady averages a lot more than just 1 touchdown per game. So pretty sure if he played 49 games, he would have had more touchdowns. But it's okay. How about interceptions? He did play 5 less games, but he had 21 interceptions to 37. Tom Brady doesn't average a couple interceptions per game, so pretty sure even if he played those more games, he would also have less interceptions. So that's a touchdown to interception ratio of 4.2 to 2.5. So Tom Brady threw more touchdowns, had a higher touchdown to interception ratio. How about passer rating? Everyone loves passer rating. 104.2 to 97.3. Completion percentage, 67% to 67%. They tied. Kudos. Passing yards per game, 284 to 272.6. Yards per attempt, which Nick apparently loves. I just only found that out recently. 7.9 to 7.3. So Tom Brady. Okay. PFF rating during the regular season, 93 to Patrick Mahomes, 85.5. But the playoffs, it's all about the playoffs. It only matters in the playoffs. Tom Brady, 83.7 to 80.3. So Tom Brady had better stats, played for better teams, scored more points, had better defenses, but yet somehow what the Kansas City Chiefs did was more. But then you're going to say, yeah, but Patrick Mahomes did more with less. Wait, did he? Let's unpack this. Pro Bowlers and All Pros on offense during the entire 3-year stretch. During the entire 3-year stretch, Tom Brady had players that got a whopping 4 Pro Bowls and All Pros. So it's like, for instance, and this isn't exactly how this unfolded, but this is an example. If Gronk got a Pro Bowl in 16, 17, and 18, and an All Pro in 2017, then it's 4 total. So there was only 4 awards given on offensive players from Pro Bowl or All Pro, no matter which player, even if it was like a double dip or anything, whatever it may be. 4. The entire run on offense. Patrick Mahomes had 17 players on offense that got Pro Bowl and All Pro, accolades. And for the total team Pro Bowlers and All Pros for the 3-year total, 22-30. So the Kansas City Chiefs, especially the offense, was flushed with talent. And yet they performed worse than what the Patriots had. And Tom Brady had to do more with less. In 2018, he won with 0 Pro Bowlers and All Pros on offense. 0 Pro Bowlers and All Pros on offense. Patrick Mahomes never did that. And don't tell me about all the injuries and this. Gronk, in 2016, only played 8 games. In 2018, Julian Edelman played 12 games. And let's not get this twisted about how amazing Julian Edelman is, okay? I think it was 2017. I have this written down somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, 2017. Brandon Cooks was Tom Brady's #1 wide receiver. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it about, like, with the support, the help, the this, the that. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. He had 4 Pro Bowlers and All Pros on offense. Patrick Mahomes had 17. 17 in 3 years. Tom Brady had 4 in those 3 years. Unbelievable. Overall team PFF 3-year average, 93.7 to the Kansas City Chiefs 88.6. The offensive PFF rating, 87.8 to Patrick Mahomes' 79.4. One of these looks like they were a little bit more led by defense. But the playoffs, that's when it all matters. Playoffs. The playoff offensive PFF rating over that 3-year average, 81.6 to 73.9. Okay, but what about just playoff performances then? Well, the Patriots played 9 games, the Chiefs played 10, and yet the Patriots still scored more points. And they averaged 31.9 points per game. The Chiefs scored 260 points and averaged 26 points per game. So again, Tom Brady continued to do more with less. And the points allowed in the less game, 198 to 221, but that averaged out to 22 and 22. So it was pretty much a wash. 22 to 22.1 points allowed per game in the playoffs. So, and yet the point differential was plus 9.9 to plus 3.9. So their defenses pretty much did the same thing throughout the playoffs. And yet Tom Brady had to do more with less. Pro Bowlers, All Pros. Okay. Got it. Championship game record, they're obviously both 2-1. The Patriots won +6, then they lost by 8, then they won by 10. The Chiefs won by 3, got rocked 40-6. We could say it was not a -34. You pick and choose whatever you want, man. You cook those books all you want. If you want to try to pretend like that game was even remotely competitive, that's all on you. But they were clearly competitive in all 3 games in the Super Bowl where the Kansas City Chiefs simply were not. And then during that time, Tom Brady led the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. So amazing that literally during the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl in 24, the defense was like, Tom Brady led the comeback. We can too. And Spags is like, yeah, you're sure right, bud. You're sure right. We could come back down 40-6. Oh, nope, never mind. So please tell me how this is true.
Have more time before we write the obituary of the Chiefs dynasty, can it not be when they are in the midst of the greatest 3-year stretch in the history of the sport?
Tell me how that's true. That this was the greatest 3-year stretch in the history of the sport. I want to know.
The last 3 years, they have been more successful or as successful as any team ever.
How? If we're just going to make outlandish claims, it's got to be proven with something. I mean, I just don't understand. The Patriots scored more points. They gave up less points. They were more competitive in Super Bowls, won the Super Bowls more convincing, had a greater point differential. Tom Brady was a better quarterback, and Tom Brady did it in his 40s, while Patrick Mahomes was in the heart of his prime. Tom Brady was even suspended, and he had less Pro Bowlers. So tell me, in what metric, in what way did this ever happen? And don't tell me, well, gameplay, because Tom Brady literally led the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Like, what are we doing here, man? And Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl, he couldn't even get to the 50 until there was like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. It's just outrageous. It's outrageous. And during one of those Super Bowl runs, Tom Brady literally had to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in what was apparently the greatest season of all time for a quarterback in 2018, Patrick Mahomes, according to Nick. And Tom Brady outdueled that quarterback. Game-winning drive. So don't come at me and tell me that I'm just wrong or that I'm just hating. I just want to push back against statements that are just fundamentally inaccurate. I mean, like, I'm giving you the reality here. That's what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the reality. And this is what's so funny. Because Mahomes fans won't know what to do with this. Because if they want to fight up against the narrative that Tom Brady had more than Patrick Mahomes during that 3-year stretch, then you would have to admit that the Patriots were a better team. So therefore, what Nick is saying here is incorrect. It's like that's the problem when you're not being consistent. That's the problem. But what clearly happened is the Chiefs had better rosters. So they had a better talent. We could see by Pro Bowls and All Pros. Tom Brady had less to work with. But yet that roster got elevated even more. Even more. And they scored more points in the regular season and the playoffs. The defense during the regular season, the Patriots were clearly better during the regular season defensively, though when in the playoffs, it equaled out. And Tom Brady still won and had a greater point differential. And he did so against harder defenses during an era when the rules did not change quite yet to really encourage offense. So yeah, I'm just advocating to be accurate. I'm just saying we're going to say people have Chiefs derangement syndrome and all of that. And again, to be fair, I ripped the original take that Colin had about, and anyone who says that the Chiefs dynasty is just ending and that they're over and all that, like, I think that that's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But so is making the statement that Nick said as well. So you can't fight Chiefs derangement syndrome with Chiefs derangement syndrome. That's what's happening. You understand that, right? You understand that? It's just bias going up against bias. We got to meet in the middle here. We got to find the reality here, which is what I just went through. I'm telling you right now, I'm not ripping the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty. I'm not ripping Patrick Mahomes and the accomplishments that they made. I think it's brilliant. It's clearly one of the greatest 3-year stretches of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. Amazing, incredible. Deserves all the praise in the world. I'm so grateful that I was able to watch all of this unfold during a time when I'm like old enough and mature enough to like actually know what I'm watching. But not too old where I'm like barely paying attention anymore because I'm some old man with grandchildren or something. And not young enough where I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm watching. Kind of like the prime time to like really be able to absorb it all. But like, we still have to be accurate though. It's okay to admit that the Patriots run was better than the Kansas City Chiefs. It doesn't take away what the Kansas City Chiefs accomplished. At all. At all. But just because other people are saying, oh, the Chiefs are over, it's done, dynasty is over, which again, I think is wrong, doesn't mean you combat that with just lies, with things that are just 100% wrong. That's just not a true statement. And then when fans want to argue that in the comment section, or they want to come at me and just be like, you're being a hater, how is just pointing out to the reality hate? Like, that's what I don't understand. How is it that I'm being a hater when I'm literally just pointing out concrete facts? Like, this stuff can't even be disputed. I mean, it just really can't. And especially when you're saying this was the greatest stretch. Like, when you say something like that, like, you're just talking about, like, accomplishment and stats. You're not talking about, like, coming from behind or, like, this game here. Like, you're not really doing that. You're just saying this is with the best 3-year stretch in NFL history. And it's like, but it's just not accurate. I mean, you know, like, it's just not, no matter how you look at it. That's all I'm trying to argue. And it's so straightforward. I mean, it really is. It's so straightforward. And any of the arguments that you try to come back at, like, well, the Chiefs, they were injured in 24 and all the drops. It's like, well, then you're only proving the point then that they weren't great then. Like, that's the beauty of the argument. And that's why I even threw the quarterback comparison, because I'm telling you Tom Brady did better. And it's just like, well, if you say, yeah, but Tom Brady had more support. And it's like, again, one, he didn't. And if that's your argument, well, then you're conceding that the Patriots were better. You can't say, no, but the Chiefs did more, but they didn't. They scored less points. They had tighter point differentials. Like, there's just no way around it. It's perfection. It's perfection. It just warms my heart. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs having the greatest 3-year stretch in NFL history? Or that that's just not true at all? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.